you have a lot of videos out there pretty much breaking down the foundation of men and women, of just really helping us understand the opposite sex. I'm curious, what advice do you have for men who want to understand women? Then I want you to come back around. What advice do you have for women who want to understand men?
Okay. So there's so much we can say here.
Okay.
But what I feel that I need to say is men need to first understand, essentially, we have to decide what kind of life we want to live.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm saying that is because I'm seeing a lot of men say, well, women nowadays want 50-50, so I'm going to do this. Like, you're responding to what you feel is the times of the day. And instead of focusing on creating the life that you want and you desire.
Yeah.
And in doing so, you're essentially letting women, society, other people lead and dictate to you. As a man, you need to lead in your life. You need to lead and be an example to others of what you want and stand strong in your beliefs. Yeah. Stop going with the wind right now and how other people are moving. Who cares how other people move? How you want to move? You know what I'm saying? So to me, like, that's where men need to begin. They need to really figure themselves out.
Okay.
And really make sure they're setting themselves up for what they desire.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So you're talking about, like, for myself, I need to have a clear vision on where I'm going in life and what I'm doing.
Yes.
And then include her into that. Am I hearing that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Number one, understand women love men with a plan, with vision, with purpose.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
And when you don't have those things, you're so easily swayed, not just by one woman, but by many women. And it's very easy to get distracted and fall off track. So you need to find that path in your life first, which is going to help you stand strong in what you need to do, but also seek more clearly who fits into your life. I always say, if you don't know where you're headed, you don't know who belongs on that path with you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, figure it out. And I think as men, we have not been taught how to figure this out. We've just, go get a job, go get an education. No, what is your purpose? What do you need to be doing in life? And let's now focus in and lock into that. And then, yes, everything else can start to fall into place.
This brother just said, if you don't know where you're headed, you do not know who needs to be on the path with you.
Yes.
And I think that's so important, that if a man knows exactly where he's headed, then it also identifies what woman can help where he's going. Now, I'm gonna flip it on you here, because I gotta play devil's advocate. Ladies are saying, but what about me? What if I know where I'm going? Does that dictate where and what man should be in my life? Because, you have the woman out there who's saying it's not all about the man and what he does. It's like, we're working together. Like, should I know where I'm going as well?
She should know where she's going as well. Yes. But again, sometimes things hit me spiritually. I got to say.
Come on, Benny. Come on. I just wanted to set you up to answer the question.
I think the problem is a lot of women will say, well, I know what I'm trying to do with my life. No, you know what your parents told you to do. You know what society pushed you to do. You know what your fear of not relying on a man pushed you to do. But you have not figured out who you are and walked in your truth. And so now what happens is, in one example, you become this career woman, you pursue this career, you become super successful, but at the core of who you are, you want a family, you want a man, you want relationship. But you've become so detached from that. And now you hide behind your work. You hide behind God. And now when that man comes, you don't know how to even come together with his life. Because you want him to be convenient to you and where you are, because it's too hard to now have to dismantle what you have built. But you built it on your foundation, not God's, not purpose, not on the direction you were supposed to be moving in. I'm sorry, it had to come out. Like,
hey, come on, bro.
Things just hit me and I got to say it, man. Like, I see it too much. And this has got to change.
Oh, bro. Wow. Don't get mad at me. I ain't saying it. The expert said it, not me. You know what I'm saying? He remind me, when I talk about money, I get passionate. That brother said, no, you built it on yourself, but you didn't really build it on God. And I think that is so, so important. And thank you for saying that. And I want to make sure that I hear you clearly, because I know the people that are saying, wait, so is he saying I'm not as valuable as a man? No, he's just saying, I don't hear you saying that.
So what I'm essentially saying is that we have men and women who are not figuring out their true path in life.
There you go.
All right? And so now they're walking alternate paths, which now makes it harder for those two people to come together. It makes it harder for the right people to line up and match up together. And so now what is happening is they are mismatching with the wrong individuals. People are getting into relationships with the wrong people.
Good.
They're marrying the wrong people. People want to say marriage this. No. You're marrying the wrong person for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And so now you're destroying the image of marriage. But understand it all began with you walking a path you weren't supposed to be on. You getting involved in things, careers, and situations that you didn't need to be involved in. Now, none of us are perfect. We're going to make our mistakes. But it's one thing to fall off the path and get back on the right one. It's nothing to continuously walk down the wrong path and then try to validate it with all these other things that, again, still prove the point that you have not set the right foundation and you have not found your true path and purpose.
How do you deal with the pain when you identify, okay, this is what I did in a relationship? Like, that doesn't feel good, man.
Well, two things. One thing I feel the need to mention real quick. This is especially for the men.
Okay.
So what I have realized in all my years of doing this is that men tend to forget that women typically are emotionally wired or more emotionally wired. And so what happens is when she comes to you and expresses a concern, if that concern does not line up in your head logically, men tend to dismiss it. Okay? And they don't consider how she's feeling. And I want men to understand, you have to learn that we have to accept men and women are different. We are just built differently, and in understanding our differences, we can create more harmony with each other. When that woman says to you, this is how I feel, it's not about your logic at that point, bro. It's about how she feels. All right? And you got to tap into that in that moment. And if you say, well, how do I know she's not lying? Listen, if she's a good woman otherwise, then there's no reason to assume it's a lie right now. All right? If you know she has not been a problem for you, then don't project that negativity on her. Just take her as her expression at that moment and understand her emotion. So it's almost like if a woman says to you, I don't feel safe, but to you, I see no danger around. It's like, nah, you okay? Just keep going. And it's like, nah, but she's telling you she does not feel safe. As a man, you have to tap into that. Okay, baby, what can I do to help you feel safer? Or maybe, you know what? Since you don't feel safe, we're going to remove from this environment. And I think what happens is so many women feel dismissed and devalued because as men, again, we keep focusing on logic, but they're talking about their emotion, what they're feeling. And that's real. It may not be real to you in that moment, but that danger or her uncomfortableness in that moment is real to her. So you have to meet her there. All right? Now, going back to...
Bro, you just said a mouthful that I think... Man, I hope brothers just heard that because you just broke that thing down. And personally, I'm sitting there like, God, how you just said that is really how men process it. She says, I don't feel safe. So the protector in me looks at her environment like, you're crazy. You are perfectly 100% safe. But I'm looking at the logic, the practical on the outside, but I'm not looking at her heart.
Exactly.
I'm not looking at her mind. I'm not looking at her spirit. Before we go into the next thing, bro, how can men get better at looking at that? Like, how do we really, how can we step back as men and be like, yo, okay, she's not safe. There's clearly nothing wrong, but how do I better understand her internally so that way I can make her feel safe? Or in any other situation that I just can't process.
I think, one, just being aware of the issue, being aware of the fact that if she expresses a feeling of concern, listen. You know what I'm saying? That's all. Just listen and try to understand what is feeding that concern, all right? And even if in some cases she can't fully explain it, just honor it. Just honor it. Again, if anyone says, well, she might just be tripping, listen, if you have a good woman, why assume she's tripping? You see what I'm saying? Just trust it. And I'm a firm believer that, listen, I am a proponent of women's intuition. I believe in the power of it. And I believe we all have it, but women have it at a higher level. Exactly. And I do believe, because I'm all about balance. And I believe that God created us to balance each other out, not equal each other out. And so if my strength is logic, her strength is intuition. And so if we're walking together, yes, I'm looking for what I see, but she's going to pick up on what she feels. And I'm going to respect that just as much as what I see. You see what I'm saying? Because again, if I know that we are supposed to be together, which goes back to, are you even consulting with God if you should be with this person? But that's a whole nother discussion, all right? But if I know this is the woman God said this is for me, and she's telling me she feels some kind of way, I'm going to listen to that. And so as men, it's just practice. It's getting comfortable with that. I think, again, we are not taught this. We're not comfortable with this. We don't even understand the concept for a lot of guys.
Right.
But if now you're hearing this message, practice it.
Practice it.
Also, talk to your woman and say, okay, listen, you know what? This is hard for me to understand. If you catch me dismissing you, remind me.
So good.
You know what I'm saying? Just build in little safety measures that bring us back to where we're trying to be in that moment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that's how you get the ball rolling. And then at some point, you'll get so used to it that now you're in tune with your woman and it flows seamlessly.